Do you struggle with making content as DJs and music producers? Well, I sat down with some of the best in the business at Brighton Music Conference and hosted the social media panel for DJs and producers. And we chatted about content, we chatted about production of content and the best ways to get the content as DJs and producers. We also talked about building community and the best platforms to do that on, and much, much more. Let's dive into the whole conversation. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Let's get into this. Hi everyone. Welcome to the social media panel. I'm Graham Farmer. I run the website Data Transmission. I also educate in social media. I've got a great panel today. I'm also very excited. We're going to do a bit of social fun. So I'm going to live stream the whole panel from my glasses. So give the world a little wave. There you go. Look at that. There you go. Let's do this. Does the panel want to just introduce himself and say hello?
Hello, hi, my name is Reese. My artist alias name is EVPRO. I essentially spent 10 years being a videographer, digital strategist, working with artists like MK, Selectadera, Golden City, James Hype. Got the opportunity to work with all the major labels, basically just being a sponge, and now take all that knowledge and apply it to my own artist career, and giving artists social media tips and so on online, because there's a lot of stuff you can do, but I feel like it gets complicated, so I just try to break it down to nice and simple for people.
I've got one. Hi, I'm Ellie Celebian. I'm a DJ and presenter. I'm also a hypnotherapist. I work with a number of different organisations within the music industry, doing comms and sort of just the general marketing direction. So that involves lots of social media for a record label, a music festival, conferences, artists, DJs, and a charity as well. Hello, everybody.
That was such a clean intro.
It's my third one of the day, isn't it?
Hi everyone, my name's Katura. I run a social media marketing agency called /. So we work with artists and brands within the music and culture space. So from strategy to content creation, running social accounts, community management, paid ads, etc. I also run a / academy.
I can't deal with the glasses on.
I also run / academy. Which is a resource for independent artists and creators and small business owners to kind of empower them to build their own branding and marketing for people that can't necessarily access an agency or kind of have access to outside help. I'm also a DJ and I run a platform called Future, which is specifically focused on showcasing Black electronic music. I run a radio show, I should say, on Foundation FM. I also have a podcast called Jack of All Trades, which is conversations with people that have specific careers, and I am an occasional photographer, which probably doesn't matter at all in the industry.
Great, you just saw my press shots. My name is Amy, my artist name is Amyelle, and my stuff sort of kicked off during lockdown. I started just before lockdown, but social media wise, my little mixes and stuff kind of, took off throughout that and doing live streams. And then since then, had multiple releases. Feel Heat named one of Radio 1's best tracks of 2022, I think. And then from there, toured with EVPRO and played at Tomorrowland and Fabric and Printworks. So all really popped off throughout social media. So that's a bit about me. We'll dive into social media with that.
Hi, I'm Neil. I run The Drop, which is a social agency that specialises in content creation, community management, paid social, etc. for record labels, artists, festivals and spaces. Been doing that for about 7 years, running the agency. Worked for another agency before, come from a DJ, producer and creator background, so always kind of lots of music.
Thank you. I thought we'd split this into 3 chunks. First, we're going to talk about content. So who struggles making content? Hands in the air. Okay, how many of you are DJs? How many of you are put on events? How many put a record label? How many record labels? Okay, sick. And then we're going to talk about community, and then we're going to talk about paid ads. I'm quite a big fan of it, so. Right, so let's go for this. Amyelle, hey, hello.
Hello.
As you know, I genuinely love everything you've done on social media for the last few years, and I tell a lot of people to go and look at your content because it's such a great standard. So can we just talk about it and how it's worked and how you started it and kind of just break it down a little bit and What works for you?
Yeah, I mean, like, so my stuff, I started the whole Amyelle project literally just before lockdown, and obviously lockdown hit, and I mean, as many DJs were playing out and doing their festivals or the club shows, we all had to find our ways to project what we did on social media. And for me, I remember my first live stream, actually it was just before lockdown, but on Instagram was my first live stream. And I think it was the fact that I had all my family in it, and it was all very personal. But since then, I was doing little mixes, which really reached out to people, and I saw that really working. And just carried on doing that. And I just remember, I mean, in lockdown, we had such, people were on their socials, so it really helped in that sense. And everything really kicked off from that. But I think from that, I just kept being very personal and doing the mixes and being very...
How has it evolved? Like, because I know it's evolved over time, changed styles up and changed views. And how's that evolved for you? And how's that? Have you had to evolve it because other people are doing similar?
I mean, I evolved in a way that, like, as everyone evolves throughout social media, I don't think anything really differently has changed. I mean, obviously, with the less time on our hands in lockdown, we had all the time to be on social media. But I think for me, it was finding a way that I could still be authentic on social media and still do my daily life. And from gaining such a big sort of community through my live streams, which I think we're talking about Twitch and live streaming later, I just felt like people love all that stuff and the whole being authentic. And I think when lockdown stopped, I did struggle to find sort of maybe a voice of being, I think there's this whole thing of being less authentic as well on social media and maybe hiding and being like, oh, I'm an artist and I want to maybe, cool isn't the word, but I think showing what you do day to day and finding that point where you can actually connect with people, I definitely felt that coming out of that period, it allowed you to be less authentic, like less pro. It was less pro, and before that, it was all kind of pro video, pro content, and everything had to be slick. And then you come out of that period, and it's like, okay. People love the unslick stuff. I swear, I posted something of the edits of me. I did a day in the life, and just me doing a single line introduction. I just couldn't do this one thing. I just posted that, and the amount of comments that you get on things like that, like people are there for the authenticity and just being real. And I know that it's ingrained to everyone just to do that, and it's sometimes really hard, but it's like, if you find where you can just authentically post something and try not to care about it, people really do love that. And there's so many people wanting to do the same thing as you or in the same spot that you can post things and, you know, connecting on other people's Instagrams who are in the same spot as you, DJs and producers, bigging them up, they'll big you up. There's a whole community out there on social media that you can use, and it's a great place to connect with everyone.
Okay, then talking about content, moving to you, Reese. Obviously, you, like I said, you make content for some big artists. I thought we'd kind of get some tips from you for making content for people that don't have cameramen, don't have people following around, and how can they get the best pieces of content for their social when they're playing gigs?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing I come across, and a lot of my friends are DJs, just where I was a videographer, and the first thing they always say is, oh, what camera should I buy? Like, what do I need? Oh, yeah, I need that. And I'm like, they don't. If you're messaging on any fairly recent smartphone, you've got more than enough to get started. It's one I've recently started, like this new TikTok page. It's sort of just giving DJs advice. And the biggest thing I say is the camera, yeah, you can go out and buy the latest Sony. There's a $4,000 camera and it can see in the dark and fisheye lens and side lights. But guess what? If you just know how to film a good iPhone clip, you can probably do more views than something else. Like the new iPhones, the actual audio, J-Type hires someone on a full-time wage the whole year, and their only job is to go around with a new iPhone and film all of his live clips on iPhone. The quality's there. So someone of an artist of that caliber can get someone to do it. Sonny Fodera does exactly the same. Literally does all of his clips with a videographer, 9 times out of 10 posts all the stuff on his iPhone. Because it's a little bit more raw, it's a little bit more authentic, but that just shows that you don't need, top-end quality equipment in order to put that content out. Now, of course, if you can do that, that's great. So where I'm now stepping into being an artist and a DJ, I'm very fortunate that I've still got all my cameras from when I was a videographer. So, I'll set up a 4-camera live stream set thing, and do the clips and post it online. That's great, but also my biggest clip on TikTok, or my second biggest clip, was one filmed on an iPhone from somebody in the crowd, and you can't even see the crowd. So it just shows, again, you don't really have to worry about that. I think the biggest thing it comes down to, there's little things you can do that can make a really, really big difference. So if you're filming in a nightclub, I basically get 2 little side lights. Now, these aren't to be super bright. They're not to be more obvious. The whole idea is basically to show the subject. So you highlight, a lot of stuff in social media and video creation and content creation is making little changes that have a subconscious effect on the viewer. So you may be trying to think how to word it. So there's little things that make a difference. So if the audio is bad on a video, you'll get a lot bigger percentage won't watch it. But if the audio is good and the video is not as good quality, people will stay. So audio is always sort of more like a priority. So I'd always say if you try, I really like including crowd noise. So on a live clip, I might say, okay, if you're on Serato, Record Box, whether you're on deck, there's so many ways that you can record the audio out of the mixer or your software. Get that, but then also if you're recording a clip on your phone, even in CapCut, which is free, you don't need Premiere, you don't need Final Cut, use the 2 audios, sync them up. Luckily if you're mixing, how any genre, to be honest, every genre has a build up and a drop. You can find out where that drop point is, use that as your sync point. And then you've got nice bits of different audio and, a lot of we all know about EQs and so on. You can EQ out low end and rumble and so on. But there's so many different things, even just adding little lights in will highlight that subject. And I've A/B tested this with big accounts and pretty much same song. I did first drop and second drop. The first drop completely flopped. The post did terrible. And even visually looking at it, I'm like, I can see why this isn't performing because it's just not an interesting shot. The minute I added in the side lights that are on 5% brightness, the whole idea is you match the lighting on the DJ to match the lighting level of the crowd. And that is essentially, so then when you're looking at it, it's one clean image. But then just adding that in, the next clip then just boosted. Of course, you could just say, well, that was nature of the crowd and everything else. But in general, across the board, and visually, when you look at it, you can go, that looks better. Straight away, even if you were to show it to, a toddler, they'd be like, that clip's better because they can see the subject and want to see what's happening. Another thing I'd say is don't film behind your head. Mainly I call it rule of thirds. So crowd, background, middle ground, decks, foreground, DJ's face. But guess what? Back of your head, especially mine, because no emotion. So people buy, another subconscious thing, people buy people. If you see someone's facial expressions, you're going to emulate it. 9 times out of 10, if you've got a DJ with a lot more energy on stage, the crowd's going to have a lot more energy because we're humans, we copycat. You see someone smile, you smile. It's because we like to mirror. So if you can see somebody's reactions, you can see even just half their face. That is still enough emotion to see how the DJ's doing. You're almost looking over the shoulder. So you've got, okay, I've got the DJ, I can see what the DJ's doing, how they're reacting, facial expressions. I can see what they're doing on the decks. That's the middle ground. Then the background is the crowd reaction. So you're hitting all 3 points, where if you're behind your head, or you're blocking out the main bit of the crowd, which is the middle, you're blocking out the decks, and you're showing yourself jumping around. So always try and think over the shoulder. You're still behind, it's more over the shoulder because you're hitting the 3 pillars. That's probably the biggest takeaway. I'd say on any content that could be on. So
thanks, dude. That was rocking.
That was really sorry.
Thanks, dude. That was rocking. Katura, I've been enjoying your content as an artist. I really loved it. I want to talk to you about what's working for you, what trends are working for you, but also obviously you work with a lot of big artists. So what's working for them from a content point of view?
So as a DJ, I'm probably not a good example of content because I'm not consistent. I think when you run a social agency and it's your job to deal with people's socials, put all the time and effort into that. So I'm kind of sporadic with the DJ content, trying to get better. So deals are safe as I do. But in terms of what I've been doing, I guess my biggest thing is time. So where I've been DJing or the radio shows or the guest mixes, I've just been taking my iPhone, putting it on a tripod, putting it in 4K and then just pressing record, making sure the shot's wide enough, so wide enough shots, but far away enough from the decks. Because it's in 4K, it means I can punch in and can take those vertical clips, and And then the wide versions I've also just been testing on YouTube. I'm seeing a lot of like uptake of like DJ sets on YouTube. I think it's becoming a really good place now for discovery. Like this playlist, visual playlist, there are DJ sets. Obviously you can't necessarily monetize that because you don't own the copyright to the tracks, but just in terms of building that consistency. I think one thing that I struggle with is, as a DJ, I really love long blends, and TikTok is very much about that 10 seconds of like that bit between the drop where people are going crazy, which is great. I'll feed into that, but the reason why I like putting it on YouTube is because there are people out there just to kind of hear that 90-second version of the blend.
Oh yeah, I love YouTube for DJs. I think every DJ should have a YouTube channel.
Agreed.
I always think of like with YouTube, it's like when it's 5 a.m. and you're at an after party, what platform goes on? And it's always YouTube on a laptop or on a telly. And so if all those after parties are being watched on YouTube, then where are you on YouTube? And like, why are you not on YouTube? And I think it's not hard to build a YouTube channel. Well, it takes a while, but you get used to it. But I agree with you on YouTube. Like, I think every DJ should have a YouTube channel.
Yeah. And then in terms of the question of what's working for us that we work with, I think to me, all of this, when we're talking about socials, it fundamentally like you're trying to build connections with people. You're trying to bring the audience into your world. And I think I still felt that there's so much resistance to socials when socials really can just be your friend. I'm not saying it's simple or it's easy. Like, I think understanding that it's kind of a game. You're at the mercy of these platforms. If you can feed into the platform and figure out how to give them what they want, and essentially what they want is to retain people's attention for as long as possible. If you can do that, then you can get out of it what you need. Like, it's constantly changing. And that's fine. I think same with like making music or whatever your creative pursuit is. Like, you have to learn, figure out, talk a lot what you were saying in terms of specifically the best ways to film content from, or like what's a better way to storytell, or how do you hook someone within the first 5 seconds. Like, you have to learn those things. So, find, rather than scrolling on like meme pages for the half an hour, maybe like follow some people on TikTok that also teach you these things, how to tell good stories, how to film content in interesting ways. Like, it's just building up an arsenal of tools, I think. And then it sort of becomes less like stress and less this thing about anxiety, and just part of your creative process in the same way you would learn as a producer. So I think there's something in just figuring out how to get good at creating content and being okay with like this pursuit of like going viral on socials. To me, is pointless. Like, it's changing so quickly. It's more about you just honing the skills that you have and figuring out what it is about you and what you do that you want to share outside of music as well. So if you're into gaming, if you're into food, if you're into fitness, like, you don't have to start a whole fitness channel, but you can keep dotting that into your content. So then when you do have releases and things that you're pushing, it feels less about promo because people are starting to build a picture of you and they're building some resonance with you.
Yeah, I love the term the game as well. I consider it a game. Like, it's a game. I go to the game and I play the game, and I try and get many people seeing my content, or people staying on my content as long as possible. And I love the term the game for it. I think it's a great. I love that. And then the other thing I was thinking about is, obviously you work with a lot of artists, and I was having a conversation with somebody in Ibiza about styling of artists, and it literally blew my mind, because the same black t-shirt, and a lot of people with the same record label t-shirt. And how much do you think about styling with your artists, and how much does that appeal go into your social content?
It depends. When we work on particularly like major label campaigns, they definitely have done that as part of the branding. So if there's a PR, there's a stylist, it's definitely a little bit more rigorous in terms of making that part of their identity. I think I said this on last panel, so apologies if you heard me say this, but when we're talking about storytelling, and visual storytelling is part of that. So if, for example, you are a DJ, there used to be a stat that said someone needs to see something 7 times before they will purchase it or they'll buy into it. I don't know if that's still correct. Yeah. But essentially, if you think about 7 different touch points, so when we're talking about visuals, whether that's what you're wearing or like the style of artwork or the font or the colors that you use, it's really about building consistency. So if you're a DJ, for example, and you always have the same POV, so your camera's always at the side of your decks, then people come to recognize that as being content from you. So when there's 100,000 things in their feed, straight away you start to remember that piece of content is probably from X person, because that's where they always have their camera. You might have a specific style of clothing that you wear, or you might be the person who, I don't know, does your DJ sets in pajamas. Eventually we'll come known for that. Like, people recognize that. I don't think it's so much.
Yeah, the guy in his dressing gown.
Yes.
Do Do you think there's a content fatigue though when it's the same shots all the same time that people can say, I've seen this, but and then I might have already seen this video and then just go swipe past it?
Definitely, yeah. I think as we were saying, it's a constant learning process. Like everything, nothing will work forever. But I think just in terms of building up that visual memory with your audience, and then the next part of your job is to make each clip distinct. So at the beginning, maybe you might put, if it's let's say it's a DJ blend, a disco track into your house, then put that on as a caption on the screen straight away. So even if I think I've seen this video before, actually no, I haven't seen the Michael Jackson into, I don't know, Linkin Park, whatever. I don't know why I chose those two over eyes. That's not in my bag at all. I don't know where that came from. So yeah, there are still things that you can do on screen in terms of really quickly capturing people's attention and letting them know straight away they haven't seen this piece of content yet.
I mean,
I have my question because I do a lot of my DJ mixes, and it's like which is why I envy your glasses, but they only do 60 seconds, so it wouldn't work with my mixing videos really. But for Instagram, the difference between maybe like TikTok, you have like a call to action. I mean, TikTok's very much like, what do you feel when you hear this mix? Or people are so quick scrolling, which Instagram is as well. But I feel like with my Instagram mixes, not always do I put a caption on it. I'm still sort of testing that. So that's what's interesting about what you're saying there, because I'm still in deciding whether caption doesn't work. But I find like the same sort of content that I've been posting, which are the mixes people do love. And with sort of, you said as well, like learning ways of how to post on social media. I just think of it of you watching a piece of content. Would you stay there? And when I do mixes, I try and make them quick because people aren't going to just be watching for ages and just what you would like to watch. But yeah, interesting with the captions.
One point on that, that's what we kind of always tell our clients at Forward Slash, like create what you would want to consume. Like if your feed was just full of like ads and like really boring content, you wouldn't be on there for long. So that, I think, a good
sometimes I find the captions a bit much. Like I find I've got a different audience on TikTok, which most people do have a different audience on TikTok because they're younger than they are on Instagram. So I find like sometimes captions are a bit like.
I think the tricky thing is like TikTok and Instagram are such different platforms, and what works on TikTok.
And stories, like stories.
Too, yeah.
You should. I mean, TikTok is pushing stories, but I was saying today, I shouldn't be saying this. Can I be bothered doing stories on TikTok?
No, I hear it though. I think that's the thing as well. You kind of need to choose which platforms you want to be active on. Like, you can't be on all of these platforms. Instagram now has stories, has a broadcast channel, you can't keep up. And that's what I mean about playing the game. All they want to do is keep people on their platforms for as long as possible. So it's for you to be selective about the things that work for what you're doing and the things that you can be consistent with and you can maintain. Like, you can't be across all of these platforms. Like, we would have no jobs. We would just literally be on socials all day.
I think just quickly touching on the captions, I think a big mistake I see loads of artists, DJs, and from all different levels and different skill sets is don't literally copy and paste your caption from every single platform or from, say, like Instagram across to it. If anything, I mean, you guys might find it different. On TikTok, yeah, I treat TikTok as in I'm going as short and as sweet as possible. I do it as if like I'm chatting to my mates. I'll just put something that is so different. Where Instagram, I feel like maybe with my audience, I have to work a little bit more to sort of get their engagement. So, maybe I'll put a little hook, a one sentence hook, and then I'll go into maybe not an essay, but, a bit of a longer bit of text, and then another little bit of longer text, and then maybe end with maybe like a call to action or something like, swipe to slide 10 to see me steal pizza or something like that. Like a random clip, that was on one of my posts. But it's like, that is not literally, as you mentioned, like the platforms it's not cookie cutter. You have to treat it as an individual thing. Like TikTok's very different. Same as Amy, as you mentioned about the captions. I find captions at the beginning of my TikToks no more than 3 seconds, and because I do multiple angle clips, I'll cut it as it cuts to the third camera clip. So I find for me it's just enough. So I dropped a clip of me playing Julia Bashmore, All Seven, and I thought, how can I like link this in? Because a lot of the new ravers, and my account's very heavily like 18 to 20-year-old ravers, they might not know this track. And I thought, okay, what am I going to put? And I just thought, just put "oh baby ... 3 seconds. Once they're 3 seconds in, then I know that's sort of, I'm into the track, I'm into the clip. Once you got them at 3 seconds, then the next battle is, all right, now I got them, the next 5 to 10 seconds. Once I got them at 10 seconds, I know pretty much then, normally the drop I put in about 15 seconds in. So I know by that point you pretty much got them hooked. But then if I did that on Instagram, and the post just plummeted, but I put it on stories, and it absolutely was one of my best performing stories I've had. Loads of likes coming through. And so it really just shows, it's literally trial and error. And as you mentioned, as we all mentioned, it's the game. Like, try and disassociate it with, I had my friend, he put a carousel clip up and it didn't do that well. And I said to him, just give it time. Carousels take a bit of time. It will come through. Like, it's good content. And then in the next 3 hours, it did like an extra 150 likes. So, but he was like, I want that instant. You really need to just try and detach yourself from social media. And at the end of the day, it's all free. So, I think very people feel quite not entitled, but people feel like, well, I should be going viral. And everybody knows someone who's gone viral, and it might be for something work related or their career, or it might be something just stupid. When I say stupid, I mean like a random video. Like, my first viral video on TikTok was me walking through Piccadilly Circus in lockdown, making a Call of Duty reference to like a building, and it did 3 million views in like 2 days, and I was like, what? This is insane. So like, but if I knew someone like that, someone's like, oh, why are you going viral? And I'm not going viral. It's like, it's a trial, it's a game. You just gotta, what works for, say, Amy might not work for me. What works for me might not work for someone else. So you just test, and if it doesn't work, cool, that didn't work. Change something else on this video, oh, that worked. What did I do different from the other video to this one? Okay, let me build upon that.
And Ellie, I love your content. It's really raw. It's really
It's
a bit cheeky. Tell me what's working for you.
Being myself. I think people use the word authenticity a lot, and I want to kind of bring things down a level, really, in terms of like, because you asked people earlier about whether or not they struggle making content. I think it's good to get a sense of like what level people are at in the room in terms of actually putting out content, and whether or not some stuff might feel a bit too out of their reach. So like, how are people posting here 3 times a week? 5 times a week? Every day? So not everybody here is posting every day. So I think that's useful information for us to sort of work with moving forward. Yeah, but just minimum every day. Nobody's doing minimum stories every day. Yeah? Okay. So what is working for me is being myself. I think people use the word authenticity, and sometimes that can sort of show up and it's not necessarily authentic. I mentioned earlier that I'm a therapist, a hypnotherapist, and one of the first, I've thought about this question a lot last night, right? I went super deep on what works for me. And sort of to say that you say I'm being a bit human. So I'm quite tongue-in-cheek. I'm quite naughty. If you came to any of my panels earlier, I really take the piss out of the music industry quite a lot, because it takes itself quite seriously, and I kind of don't. And that's just, I like finding the fun in life and in all matters and situations. But as a hypnotherapist, something I do with clients is I get them to identify what their values are as a human. That's the first thing we do as our first ever session is, what are your values? How can you live in line with them more? And what does that look like for you? That's why I am the way I am on social media, because I'm just being the most genuine version of myself I can be, which is a bit tongue-in-cheek, a bit naughty, and a bit piss-taking. And if I try and do anything else as a female DJ, if I try and go down like the sexy route, which many women do, and that's fine, that works for them, it doesn't work for me. And it's not because I'm not sexy, it's probably because I'm Iranian, I was brought up by a Muslim, it doesn't feel right for me, it doesn't feel comfortable for me, it doesn't sit right with me to sort of be all tits out, and do you know what I mean? Like, so it's doing social media that genuinely feels comfortable for you. I think if you were to all find out what your values were, then it would be much easier for you to post that you know what you do, you love what you do, you are what you do, and something personal. And that is the recipe that I use with every single client that I work with. It's, you know what you do, you are what you do, you love what you do, something personal. So if you're a DJ, show us that you're a DJ. Show us what your education is around that. Show us what your passions are in the music industry. If it's something personal and you've got kids, you don't have to post a picture of your kids. It could be that you like going to the Tate at the weekend, which is something I love doing, or you like going to the Barbican or whatever. So it's kind of a bit of an edge, but it shows that you're cultured, and it shows that you know where you're batting from when it comes to the music industry. And you'll talk about live streaming and filming ourselves doing this, and this. Like, are you putting out that most basic information about yourself as an artist, as a producer, as a DJ? And do you feel comfortable with putting that information out? Because the frequency with which some of you have said you're posting is actually a lot less than what I was expecting.
Oh yeah, I always with how frequent you're posting. I always say what's healthy for you to post.
Yeah. So it's what are you comfortable with?
Right,
and what comes through is it's like consistency, isn't it? Everybody said it. You need to yield results, but you've got to think about what are the results you're actually looking for. Because I posted a video a couple of years ago, and I think it had 800,000 views and like too many likes, and when that happened, I just thought, I don't actually like this. Like this isn't comfortable for me. I'm completely out of my comfort zone here with this many people looking at my content and looking what I'm doing. I don't want that. So when I'm working with clients, it's all about goals. So you have to think about what your goals are as individuals. Is it that you want gigs? Is it that you want radio play? Do you want a radio show? I was working with a label for the last sort of quite a few years now, and I managed to get one of their artists onto a bigger label's socials, which means they're now exposed to 20 million people because I coached them how to be good on socials. I spent a lot of time with them going, well, what are you good at? And, how do we get you talking to camera comfortably? And now they've been poached and put somewhere else. And I did that. I made that happen because I can bring out that side in people. Thanks. But it's finding what people are comfortable posting, getting them to have that sort of basic recipe of this is what success looks like for me on social media. And just staying, like when we use that word authenticity, actually fucking mean it rather than like be your fucking self. Like, I mean, I'm going to wrap up on this. I posted a picture of me recently in a jumpsuit. My breasts look fucking amazing. And the next day, the mums that I go swimming with, and they're all like in their 50s, and they spend every morning with me for 2 hours. One of them pulled me to one side to have a conversation with me about how uncomfortable it made her seeing that picture. Because she knew it wasn't authentic to me, and she knew it wasn't who I am and what I post and how I am. So she had a fucking word with me. Do you know what I mean? That's how outrageous it was. That's how much she spotted. And I'm like, oh, I look great. And she's like, well, but it just made me feel worried about you. And I'm like, just a picture about a DJ gig. But and then actually this morning I showed her on my way here a whole bunch of other DJs and what they post. And she was like, oh, okay. All right then.
Nice. And we spoke a lot about artists. Neil, let's talk about events. Let's get to all the way on there. How are you?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to artists for a second though. I think one of the big things there is using your saves. Like I use that quite a lot on Instagram. Like, what do you save yourself? What do you consume yourself? What do you love seeing all the time on social media? And that can inform.
Go. There you go.
I've got it, don't worry.
We got it.
Keep your hand there.
We've got it.
Yeah, I think that can inform what you can share because actually you're going to talk about things that you enjoy seeing yourself. If it's like, I don't know, Fish 56 Oxygen.
Yeah.
If you're just watching him all the time, maybe that's the sort of content you should make because you actually enjoy that. If you're consuming carousels of spinning vinyls, that actually maybe that's what you should share more of. And so, actually there's a lot to be said for that, just looking at the things you love and then talking more about that because that's going to be an easy thing for you to create. It's maybe a bit too much on artists, but yeah, I mean, again, on events, it's about just kind of leaning on that user-generated content.
But they're both on artists and events. So you're just saying about community there. I just wanted to go into community a bit. Like what's working from community. I know a lot of our community from we have a Discord server, and it's the best thing we can have, right? And I love our Discord server. There's Discord members here. Hi, Discord members. Hey, there you go. So what's working for any of you from a community point?
I mean, I work for a festival as well, so I do events as well. And for that community, not that version, they love it when you just give them their content back, and they love their feedback back to them. So what I do is when we do our reviews at the end of the year for the festival, the event that I'm working with, I take all of those key words, like never mind the standout quotes that describe the event. I take the actual language that they use, the actual words, and then throw that all back at them. And that's the bit where the consumer is on the other end on their phone going, this is 100% a little bit of me. And we almost alien out the people that we don't want at the festival by doing that, which sounds harsh. It's a Mark's word to use. But do you know what I mean? It's like where we unashamedly tap into the people that we know are our audience, that we know are our people. And it's like, fuck everybody else. So somebody that I work with, he got me to look at his socials recently for a large-scale event he's putting on. And he's brought in an outside agency, and they have said nothing specific about his audience, about the artist, about who he's playing. It's just like, come to this, it's going to be great, we've got ice cream and yoga. But it's just, none of it sort of saying the reason you love coming here onto this grass for a downward dog is because you get to look at this. Or do you know what? It's so unspecific, and you have to be specific. You have to really talk to your audience and find out who they are with events and festivals. And the way I find it works is by speaking their language back at them and getting all of their content. Like, UGC has become so popular that when we were doing it last year, it's just you take all of their stories and you go, this is X captured by you, and people just love it.
All right.
Do you want to talk?
Yeah.
Go on.
Sorry, me again. So I actually, as well, I run an event called Block Studio 5 in the Midlands, and we took our raves in the space of 8 months, and this is going to touch on the community heavily, is that we went from like a 250 cap rave to now like all our raves are like 2,000. And the main reason we did that is literally community. And we got to the point now where our events turning up, you know, we had our drop off is like, one of our events in Easter, our drop off was 7%. And I had another promoter said, I don't believe that. And I said, I'll send you the Skiddle proof. Like, we don't, and it's because we built a community. We don't have a single, touch wood, we haven't had a single kickoff at our last like 3 events, not one piece of drama on the doors. And which is, you know, when you're dealing with, 1,000+ people, that's, especially one of them was a daytime event, so you got daytime drinking involved. It's just carnage, but it's because we built community. Nobody wants to be the person that ruins that for everybody else. You know, it's now to the point where we've got a WhatsApp community chat, and the Skiddle page went live 5 minutes before we actually were posting it in the group. In 5 minutes, we did like 65 tickets because somebody found the link, did it, and they're like, oh my God, go. Like, it's the community we've built. Everybody is so important. And then we see other brands do it, and the devil is in the details. Every single attention to detail. Our first event, there's like me and like 6 other lads that run it. We all said like, we go like, to be realistic, we all know what people do at these events, yeah? So we were like, let's walk around. If anybody's in a bit of a pickle or they're not good, let's go up. Yo, are you okay? Do you want a bottle of water? We purposely go out and we get extra like crates of water backstage. So if we see people in, not a good situation, luckily we've all been gone out and raving a bit more before. We're like, look, just take them to a little separate area, make sure they're cool. We don't want them to get kicked out or ambulance. And 9 times out of 10, you just need to remove people out of that environment. It's like, okay, are you okay? You all good? Yeah. Okay. And them little things we've had people come out and be like, we really, really appreciate that, because most people would just be like, get them out. It's like, no, like this is a community, and the bigger we build and the more that we make them feel a part of it, the more they rely on us. We did a really big venue on New Year's Eve, a venue that hadn't been used for a while. And then all of these out of town promoters come in and like, yeah, we're going to do it. And I was really concerned. Obviously, it's competition, it's coming in. And the lad said, no, don't worry, because we've got one thing that they haven't, is that we've invested, we've built every single time, like we do like the hand fans, a little bit, like even little things that really make people feel involved. We go around, involve them, we do like the 360s and we get our mates back. And same thing with the UGC, we had someone who we clocked on, he posted TikTok every single time the next day. It's doing like 20,000 likes every time. So I was just walking through the crowd at the last event, I spotted him, I'm like, oh Kai, I'm like, come in. Put in his hand, backstage band, and he was like, what? I was like, go do your thing. Literally next day, like another 10,000 likes on the video. And it's like just looking after the community, and I think really investing in it. And we've had in the past when people are like messed up on events, like someone touched the decks, and like we made a very clear point to them, like, you can't, like, you'll ruin it for everybody. Like, And then, after that, they really apologise. But again, it's just community. And I think that's one thing that a lot of promoters are not doing. So if you spend the time, make the little investments, you could go into utilising data and all stuff like that. But, ultimately, just talk to your punters. Because at the end of the day, whether you're charging £4 a ticket all the way up to £30 a ticket, in this day and age, a lot of people don't have as much money as they used to. So making them feel like they're getting that value for that ticket will then put you further ahead. Yes, you may end up making less money, on your P&L, but it then means, 3 events down the line, you're going to sell double the amount of tickets in half the amount of time. So it's just, I think communities, I think in events actually I think that you're going to see a real trend now where events are going to gradually turn out, because artists, obviously, there's a lot of us artists that are here, but in general, artist fees are through the fucking roof. And whether there's service agents in here, but a lot of agents and agencies are taking the piss. And the problem is that all these prices have gone up, cost of venue hire has gone up, venue fees have gone up, we know we're losing venues left, right and centre. And the one thing that hasn't gone up is ticket pricing, because no punter can afford it. Like, it is what it is. So, I think focusing not so much on your of course music is important, I'm not saying that, but like really focus on, rather than say, yeah, let's go book a massive 10 grand headliner, think actually let's maybe spend £6,000, and what £4,000 can we then spend to improve the experience for the customer, whether that's decor, whether it's giving away free merch, whether it's giving away something else. How can we, is it meaning getting better toilets so that, prime example, we got nicer portaloos for girls than we did for lads, but it makes a difference, because at the end of the day, the girls are the ones who got to sit down in the toilets and the lads haven't. So it's just really important. Customer first.
We have 1 minute left. Thank you. Does anyone else have anything to add on community? I know, Amy, you've got Discord. How's that work for you?
Discord and Twitch, I'd say. I know there's a whole kind of thing between just being a Twitch DJ, but I think with Discord and Twitch, the sense of community that I get, like I now weekly stream on Twitch, and I didn't before, but this whole thing with consistency, the amount of community that you can get and you can speak to across the screen, who will then buy your tickets, who will then invest in you. I don't get that anywhere else. Doesn't matter a show, doesn't matter my social media, TikTok, Instagram. Those, how many people are tuning into my Twitch every week are the ones that are going to be there. And we connect on a personal level. And I honestly couldn't think of anything better. They are coming back every single week to watch me play. And that's amazing to me.
It is an amazing community on Twitch.
So good.
I know YouTube for DJs, but also Twitch for DJs. It's just
good. Not enough people do it, and it's a scary thing, because it's Twitch is scary to go and perform and be able to speak. And Twitch is quite a hard platform to get your head around it, or for me anyways. But like, they will be the ones buying my tickets, and they are my friends now. They're going to be the ones who know me as a person. And honestly, like in this day and age, that's what people are here for. So shout out to the Twitch fam.
Twitch is amazing. We've had one of the DJs that supports our watch. I think she raised like £7,000 in 24 hours on Twitch by DJ. I don't use Discord for any of my clients. We with Discord, like, just don't use it. Still get great success. Still have sold out events. Still having a good time, but perhaps should use it. So some of what you're saying is like,
it's like fan mail.
Yeah,
basically, but better.
But there is a new service. There's a new streaming platform called Classrooms, which we've been using recently, and we've used a couple of times. And it's kind of like Twitch, but it's a bit more lovely in that its kind of ethos is all about creating accessibility for people that can't necessarily get to gigs in a very different way. The way that the community is built within this platform is that people can talk to each other. It is all safeguarded, but it's just different to Twitch. So give it a Google, find out more. It's very much in its infancy, so good opportunities to work with them, do deals with them. It's like Twitch, but it's kind of the new thing, and there's a lot of heart behind it. But I totally get it. For some DJs, post-pandemic, Twitch has just been amazing. It's like an income stream, isn't it? For lots of people I know still. But check out Classrooms. It's going to be big.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being part of the panel. Thank you all. It's been great fun. Thank you everyone for being here. We've got things. It was a bit long longer video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed listening to the comments. I'm sorry about the audio if you found that poor. We were working what we had in the room and had some issues, but I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know again what you thought in the comments. If you've not followed my channel, we talk about social media for DJs and producers lots on here, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you don't know what Brighton Music Conference is or any other conferences and need to know how to network as DJs and producers, then I've created this playlist of the best conferences you should check out as DJs and producers. So go and check that out next. Jump into that and I'll see you in one of those videos. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye-bye.